Hey, Laura, how are you?
Fine, how are you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. You know what? Lots to talk to you about today because you are so good in this. And who knew you could sing? I watched you on Shameless. I never heard a note come out of your mouth.
Yeah, I didn't do that kind of singing on Shameless anyway. We had a Christmas carol we came up with.
Good point. Good point. But are you like a trained singer? Is it something that you've been doing through your career?
Well, I kind of, when I moved to Los Angeles and did more film stuff, I definitely didn't have as much of a opportunity to express all that stuff. But when I was in high school, I did, I was always in musical theater and took voice lessons and all that stuff. So it was like, finally, I could use this.
Absolutely. So tell me how you got involved with this project because, I'm talking to you from Toronto. So as a proud Canadian, I was so excited to sit down and watch this movie. I had known about this, it's immigration story and the general strike and everything, but it's just so wonderful to see it come to the forefront like this and also with such a diverse cast. So how did it come to you?
I had Robert Atatui. I guess it was a long story where like his daughter was a fan from the show and then he was, so it was kind of her idea. And then he was like, oh, that's a good idea. I like that idea. So he sent the script to the reps and then I read it and I was like, wow, this actually has a lot of like heart to it. And what a cool opportunity, and I did not know about the Winnipeg General Strike. It's not something that really teach. I mean, they barely teach us American history over here. So
yeah.
But so I was like, okay. We had done Newsies a long time ago in my community theater, so I'd known about that, and it kind of reminded me a little bit of that time period and that spirit. But it just had, obviously its own vibe, its own thing that it's doing. So I immediately loved it.
And I wanted to know, once you read the script, was it something that you needed to do some research about? Like, did you go back and do a little research about that time period or about immigration, about maybe the character that you played? I just was wondering how kind of involved you got in that.
There was a lot of, we had to look into a lot of stuff because I was not completely understand. And now I probably don't remember it as well as I did back then, where like I didn't understand a lot of the Russian revolutions and, the Bolsheviks and how they were being constantly invaded. A lot of the times it just gets like, well, they were communist and that ended or, kind of, but this was putting it in a much more specific light. And so we really did have to kind of go back and understand like where these families were coming from. And I mean, even in Winnipeg today, there are lots of people that still speak fluent Russian or, the culture is still all very much intact over there. So, and then just we have some characters like Stefan Sokolowski was a real, he was a real person. And I think he was maybe one of two people that died that day, although a lot of people were badly injured on what was supposed to be a silent and peaceful march.
Right. Well, yeah, I was just going to say, how relatable is this story today, to be honest with you?
Well, I mean, it was exactly what it was therapeutic to kind of see how the governments were trying to control the people's voice, especially going through. I mean, even as we're speaking, there was a person in Georgia. When I'm not going to get too much into our Georgia politics, but I'm sure everyone knows they're a mess right now.
Yeah.
And he was saying, well, just, is there any way that we can throw ballots out
if
they're not like properly signed? Like, can we bureaucratically can we then just get rid of the whole area? And it's just, and a lot of the areas when you go through, it reminds me of the story we just told. Like I was talking to a man who said his job is in construction in the city, but because it's so poor, they have had to just shut down all the all the bathrooms in the area and they're just desperate in need of funding, and there's nothing there. So you have this man who's working so hard for his community all the time, and there's no place for him to go to the bathroom at, because there's, and you just want to say, let's like rally together, let's be a community.
Right. It's 2020, for God's sake,
Yeah.
honestly, like, I know, right? You can't fathom like what is going on in this world today. Aside from COVID, that's out of our control, and hopefully we will be past that soon. But with politics and everything, it just amazes me. And when I watch this movie and I go, God, people can really relate to it. And what I loved so much about this is that it is told in musical theater, and you see shows like Hamilton, for example, which is a historical topic, but people are loving it and clamoring to see it because it's told in such an innovative way. Was that important to you to be a part of this because of that?
I think it adds, it made it a lot of fun for me, just to add different elements of storytelling, but also like, even because I've been waiting for it to come out in the US, so I'm really excited about December 1st, because like there's my like old musical theater that I used to do here, like some of those kids want to do songs from this, for their galas and all that stuff. And I think it's really neat, because when we did Newsies back in the day, that ended up being like so fascinating to us, that these boys were able to to go up against such big wigs and change things,
Yeah.
So I think it can be shocking and inspiring to the younger generations, just exactly how they can get involved. And
Absolutely.
And you see it a lot more now, you do see more like younger, like Greta Thunberg and all.
Amazing. Yeah. Oh gosh. Yeah. You know what? I have hopes. I have hopes for the younger generation. That is for sure. I wanted to know about your chemistry with Marsha, who plays Stefan, who you guys are so lovely together, and your duets are beautiful. I have to say, I really like the music in this movie. Did you guys kind of hit it off right away?
Yeah, he's an easy guy to talk to, and he's he's a just local Winnipeg guy, and he has a lot of fun stories. Like, so like he like goes to Hollywood in this van that he made, like he put together to live in, and then he ends up booking Glee, and having these crazy stories. And so he was just really fun to hang out with. And I think we both were pretty passionate about creating the chemistry of that there's always people that are trying to control who can be together and who can't be together. And so I think that made it even easier. And then I think just the way they cast it, they're like, well, these two people are going to get along, so this will be great.
Yeah, no, I loved it. It's a lovely little film. And I just talked to Robert earlier, and I was saying, I hope it's a really important film to get out to students. I hope a lot of classes get to see this and learn from it, because it's, as we were saying, it's an easier pill to swallow, so to speak, when you're teaching history, but it's a musical,
Right.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
So.
I want to go back and mention Shameless. I have to, because it's one of my favorite series on the air. I love it. I love it. And also because it's on Netflix and people are just discovering it now. So, it's a whole new fan base for you, right? But the couple of years that you were on it, I loved your character because, first of all, having Joan Cusack play your mom.
Yes.
Okay, done. Like, seriously, how amazing was that?
There's just so much to learn about not limiting yourself to anything, and exploring, because she just can go from being the most down to earth human being to this wacky, just floating in space character. And I mean, watching her and Bill Macy do this together was eye-opening, because I was like 20 when I first booked that show, and now I'm 32. So like I learned a lot watching those guys, for sure.
I'm sure. Bill Macy, I always say, I watch each season and I go, how much worse can Frank get? And they always find more crazy situations to put that guy in.
Yeah.
He's brilliant in that role, honestly.
Everybody was so well cast and fits so well into their places, but there's a lot of work that you can't have a script on set when you do Shameless. You gotta leave the script outside of it, and so everything kind of is on its feet, similar to a play.
Wow, I
And
didn't know
but
that.
it makes it really fun and interesting. But I mean, I don't know how Bill does it. I have like 2 paragraph thing that I have to say, and I have a hard time remembering that. And then he has like a whole page and a half of drunk rambling that's just like, that makes no sense. And he's got it spot on. I was so
Amazing.
inspired.
Yeah.
And Joan too would have all this stuff that's just not connected,
Yeah.
with Sheila, and she would just connect everything so well. It was really cool.
Yeah, I'm sure. What a great experience for you. Just before you go, what's next? What are we going to see? Have you done anything like kind of pre-pandemic that we can look forward to seeing?
Well, besides this movie that's coming into American theaters December 1st, I
Yeah.
have a movie called Trapdoor at the Edge of the Universe that's on Amazon Prime. It was
Oh, tell
supposed
me about that.
so that is like, has almost no meaning to it. It's like an Adult Swim kind of comedy. It's like a parody on the writing process, and it's just like about this writer that wrote some characters that were able to become self-aware, and they find a trapdoor into other universes, and they try to escape their own universe. So there's just all these wacky characters, like, and they're like, there's cats that are being taught to read and write, and this is like a nefarious thing that we shouldn't, so it's one of those things. But it was so like indie and just a group of friends, and it turned out pretty well. So if you like really quirky comedies, that's on Amazon Prime.
Hey, listen, we don't have enough of those quirky comedies. We kind of need them right now. So I'll look for that for sure.
Oh,
yeah, no, sounds really fun. Well, look,
thank you.
It's been such a pleasure to talk to you. You're lovely, and like I say, you're just wonderful in this movie. Honestly, I hope you think about doing some more musicals. You really are a talented singer.
Thank you so much, and I mean, if I get some good opportunities, I'll jump on it.
Okay. Well, we'll make sure that we get this interview out there, and people will make sure they watch you in this film. Lovely to talk to you today, Laura. Thank you so much for your time, and stay safe and stay healthy. Okay.
Okay. You too. Take care.
Take care. Thanks for your time. Bye-bye.
Bye.